I talked about it before that in the back of my mind, I knew that that at least guaranteed Shohei one more at bat. And with what he'd been doing, throughout that postseason, it was like, all right, well, this gives us a really good chance to come back and tie this game if we get a guy on. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself when I'm watching Shohei that, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like how dare you? Like, what did you just do? I know. When we went to
Well, we could not be any more excited than we are than to have Max Muncy on our show today. Welcome to Talk Dodgers to me, Max.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And congratulations.
I know.
This is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
We're like
it's been awesome.
A month removed now from back to back. Okay, well, let's talk about your moment in Game 7, because I know everyone likes to talk about Miggy's home run and Will Smith's game-winning home run, and those were absolutely amazing, but we never would have gotten there if you didn't start us off. What was the dugout like when you came back in? Because at that point, now you guys are only down 1, and it's like, okay, we can win this game.
At no point in any of the games did it ever feel like we were really like out of it. I know there's some games that we lost to them that were like 6-1, 8-1, or whatever the scores were. I don't remember, but our dugout did such a good job. The guys that weren't on the active roster, they were in the dugout every single pitch, and they kind of understood what their job was. Their job was to make sure that we were, staying positive throughout the entire game. And I don't think we win without those guys being who they were in the dugout for us. And they just kept us up the whole time. And so Game 7, we knew we were right there. And, they kept going, hey, let's chip away. Let's just get one. Let's get one. And then, when I got the homer, for me, I wasn't sure how much I need to celebrate that. Cause like, obviously you hit a home run in Game 7, it gets us closer, but we're still down by 1 run. And so the last thing that you want is to be the guy that's, throwing the bat 100 feet in the air, cartwheeling, and then you still end up losing the game. And it's like, well, look at what this loser did. And so for me, like, I was really pumped about it. But I was just like, I can't take this, I got to just be a little more serious about this. So I'm running around the bases. When I get back to the dugout, they were hyped and they were pumped.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely gave us the chance. And, I talked about it before that in the back of my mind, I knew that that at least guaranteed Shohei one more at bat. And with what he'd been doing, throughout that postseason, it was like, all right, well, this gives us a really good chance to come back and tie this game. If we get a guy on, he can hit a big homer. But it guaranteed him one more at bat. So for me, I think it was just a really huge, huge moment.
Man, Shohei. I mean, everyone talks about him, and it is pretty incredible to watch him. But to be honest, as a fan right now with the team that you guys are, I kind of feel that way about all you guys. Like it's really incredible. I mean, I've seen a lot of talented teams through my lifetime here as an LA fan, but I really had to stop and like not let people make me feel bad for just being so in awe of what is in front of me, because you don't know from season to season what's going to change and, all the things. And so I was like, no one burst my bubble. Like, let me geek out on these guys, because it's been like honestly incredible to see all you guys step up whenever any of you guys, there could be a void somewhere, but then all of a sudden somebody does something that just like clears the void. And it's been really, really beautiful as a fan to watch you guys.
It has,
been fun.
We have to come
their numbers, and that's, how they want to be remembered is, they always have these numbers every single year, but for a lot of us, we have guys that have those numbers already, but for a lot of us, it's how many rings are we going to have? That's what we care about.
Man.
Do you get a trophy? Do you each get a trophy?
No. No, you don't get a trophy. You are, so you get given a packet of all the things that you can purchase. And so you can buy a replica trophy. And it's made by Tiffany. So it's a legit silver trophy, but if you get the one from Tiffany, it's only it's only like 75% scale. They don't make you a full-size trophy.
Okay.
But that one's, like I said, it's made out of real silver. You have to polish it, otherwise it tarnishes, all that kind of stuff. And it's also really, really expensive. So most guys don't go with that option. There's a lot of places out there that make full-size replica just out of steel. You can't hardly even tell a difference. And most guys will end up buying that one, and it's relatively cheap compared to the Tiffany option.
Because we did notice you had 2 trophies.
Yeah, those are not real replicas.
Is there a third on its way?
There is, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So
you
yeah,
have to buy
it's
your
just
rings, right?
No way. No way.
Oh my god.
Do you get one for like the safe and then a smaller one to wear around, or is that just stand custom?
So we don't have to pay for the ring, but you get taxed on the ring. As with pretty much everything in baseball that we get, you pay the tax on it. So like our tickets, we don't get tickets for free. We don't, you don't. So like every game that Kelly goes to, we're paying for those tickets.
No, the wives and your kids.
Yep.
Is this like a California tax thing, or is this
no?
Like
that's
the board?
That's across the board. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's so like people will always reach out and be like, hey, let me get like 10 tickets, and it's like hey, we have to pay for these. Like it's not like I'm just giving these things out, like.
Wow.
Shoot.
And so that's kind of so that's how the rings work is you pay the tax on the ring, and but obviously no one's going to complain about that. That's one of the hardest things in baseball to achieve. So no one's going to complain about having to pay the tax on the ring.
When do you whip it out? When do you whip out the rings to wear?
Never. I don't wear those. They're locked away safe. I don't want anyone having any ideas about that.
Yeah, no, totally. And then I heard that the wives have a special ring if they want to purchase that for themselves. Or no?
You would have to ask Kelly on that one. I believe they do.
We'll ask her.
And the rings we got this past year, like the tops open up on them, and there's a piece of the base from Game 5 in it,
so cool.
which is really cool. But like the full size replica you can buy for your wife, like the top won't open up. It looks
fall off a little, and that's my point. Is like I had that Kobe era where I was so like I could be on the edge of my seat watching basketball, and I haven't really felt that. And it was like that's why I'm like, let me enjoy my team that I have them right now, because you never know when it's going to change and when it's kind of going to go away, and it goes in and so.
Yeah, we tend to not enjoy the greatness in the moment, and we like to talk about it afterwards. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself when I'm watching Shohei, that like I might be playing with the greatest player of all time. Like I need to enjoy everything that he does, and I do, because it's hard not to. He's hitting balls out of the stadium. He's throwing balls 103 miles an hour. It's like everything this guy does is absolutely insane. And even Freddie, he's hitting 60 doubles a year. Mookie's becoming a Gold Glove at a new position after winning however many Gold Gloves at another position. Like it just it's sometimes we forget to enjoy the greatness when it's right there in front of us, and we'd rather talk about it after the fact. But that's something that I'm trying to do more and more, is just enjoy what I have around me and try to just watch it and enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, for when you're talking about Shohei, it's like your teammate is the greatest player of all time, but he's also the one picking up the trash on the ground and filling up the water cups in the dugout. So do you ever need to click back and remind yourself, okay, this is like this?
Well, and that's just that's a culture thing, I think, too, but that also speaks to who he is. One of my favorite videos that I've seen is where we're in I think we're in San Diego actually, but Shohei's standing next to Will Smith, and Will Smith's chewing some gum, and he takes it out and he throws it on the field, and Shohei just turns and side eyes him like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
how dare you?
Like, what did you just do? I know. When we went to Tokyo, we came back, I was like, man, that just makes that video make so much more sense.
And also,
yeah, I mean, we're
from them.
we're traveling with the baseball form of the Beatles at the moment, so it's pretty crazy everywhere that we go.
Yeah, I mean,
well, what does off season look like for you? Do you have fun holiday plans? What's the family doing?
Well, we're getting ready for another baby. That's what we've mainly been doing. So it's we're trying to enjoy the holidays as much as we can, but we're starting to stress out over that. She's coming up real soon, and
wow.
So we're trying to, get things prepared for that, make sure we're having cribs and strollers and all that stuff. And
I know.
Do you know if you're playing World Baseball Classic?
I will not be unless I'm asked. I have not been asked.
Okay.
That to me, that's one of those things where you get a chance to put on the USA jersey. You can't turn that down. You have to do it. But yeah, have not been asked, and I don't expect to be asked. So I'll be enjoying it with everyone else watching and cheering on the United States.
Okay, well, I'm happy
Very
for you
cool.
in that sense too, because I need you fresh for next season. I need Max Muncy